Red is a medical herbalist living in a quiet border town called Zoltan. The town lies far from major cities and trade routes, holds no military or political value, and rarely becomes involved in world affairs. Most people who pass through barely remember its name. Life in Zoltan is slow, peaceful, and uncomplicated, exactly the kind of place Red wants to disappear into. He spends his days gathering herbs, treating minor illnesses, and dreaming of opening a small apothecary where he can live a modest, uneventful life. In this world, every person is born with a divine blessing, a power granted by God that shapes their destiny and abilities. For adventurers and heroes, these blessings often define their worth. One day, a curious child in Zoltan asks Red what his divine blessing is. Red smiles gently and dodges the question, brushing it off as unimportant. The truth is, he doesn't want to talk about it, or about the life that blessing once forced him to live. Red's real name is Gideon Ragnarsson. Long ago, he was a skilled warrior and a member of the Heroes Party, the legendary group tasked with supporting the hero chosen to defeat the Demon Lord. That hero is Ruti Ragnarsson, Gideon's younger sister. Gideon fought alongside her from the beginning, protecting her and guiding her as an older brother would. However, as the journey grew more dangerous, his presence became increasingly controversial. Gideon's divine blessing was not designed for direct combat. While he was strong, experienced, and capable, he could not keep up with the overwhelming power of the hero and the elite fighters surrounding her. One day, Ares, the party's arrogant and calculating second-in-command, openly tests Gideon. He orders him to destroy a powerful magical barrier using nothing but a bronze sword, an impossible task. When Gideon fails, Ares publicly humiliates him, calling him useless and accusing him of endangering the party. He claims that Ruti constantly has to protect Gideon and that his presence is a liability rather than a help. Though Ares is cruel, Gideon knows there is truth in his words. Watching his sister throw herself into danger to shield him fills Gideon with guilt. The thought that he might be the reason she hesitates, or worse, gets hurt, becomes unbearable. That night, Gideon makes a quiet decision. He leaves behind his weapons and equipment and tells the party he is heading out to scout the Demon Lord's forces. Instead, he walks away from everything, abandoning the role fate assigned him. He eventually reaches Zoltan and begins a new life under the name Red, determined to live as an ordinary man. That peaceful life is threatened when a dangerous owlbear appears near town. Albert, a confident B-rank adventurer, asks Red to help track it. Red refuses, fearing that drawing attention will expose his true identity. Soon after, a local boy named Tanta falls gravely ill with a rare fever that could leave him blind. The only cure requires extremely rare herbs that grow deep in the forest. Unable to stand by and do nothing, Red uses physical enhancement abilities and rushes into the forest. Unknown to him, Albert has started a massive fire to flush out the owlbear. Amid the chaos, the owlbear attacks Red. In a moment that reveals his true strength, Red kills the beast in a single strike. Later, other adventurers find the corpse and assume Albert was responsible, though Albert suspects someone far stronger was involved. Red returns with the herbs and the town doctor successfully cures Tanta. Grateful beyond words, Tanta's uncle Gons offers Red any reward he wants. Red asks for something simple, a small house that can double as a medical shop. Gons builds it for free, and 4 months later, Red's apothecary opens, celebrated by the people of Zoltan. Around this time, a new adventurer named Rit arrives in town, unaware that the quiet herbalist she hears about once stood beside a legendary hero. Soon after, Rit visits Red's shop and casually calls him Gideon. It turns out they already know each other. Rit's real name is Rizlet, and she is actually the second princess of a powerful kingdom. Her people were beginning to support her more than her older brother, the crown prince. To avoid starting a civil war, she left her country and began living as a B-rank adventurer. When Rit learns why Gideon left the heroes' party, she gets angry at Ares. Gideon, however, says the party is doing fine without him, doesn't seem bitter about it. After calming down, they talk about their past adventures together. Back then, Rit's country was too proud to ask the heroes' party for help, even when demon forces attacked. Rit was defeated, captured, and nearly killed until Gideon rescued her. Together, they fought a demon general until Ruti arrived and saved them. Afterward, Rit had to face the loss of her comrades for the first time and struggled to cope. Gideon reminded her that she needed to stay strong and act as a symbol of hope for her people. His words helped her move forward and become a leader her people could rely on. Back in the present, Rit asks if she can stay with Red and work at the medical shop. Red hesitates but eventually agrees. Around the same time elsewhere, Ares introduces a new party member named Tise, who has the divine blessing of an assassin. The next morning, Red wakes up to find Rit sleeping comfortably in his home, which he finds both surprising and awkward. They spend the day shopping for essentials like a bed and household items. During this time, Red reflects on divine blessings and how they affect people. In this world, the only way to level up a blessing is by killing others who have blessings, which often leads people down dark paths. They witness a large boy with a fighter-type blessing bullying Tanta, and another child named Al. Red scares the bully away and explains to Al that blessings can influence personality. Assassin blessings can make people more ruthless, while brawler blessings can lead to arrogance. Al worries about his own future, but Red reassures him that blessings don't fully control who you become if you're mentally strong. To make their little shop more successful and truly useful to the people of Zoltan, Red begins working on a new medicine. Drawing on his deep knowledge of herbalism and his experience from the battlefield, he develops a painkiller that is effective yet non-addictive, something rare in a world where many medicines dull pain at the cost of dependency. Red and Rit believe this could genuinely improve people's lives, so they bring samples and documentation to the town administration, hoping to receive official approval to sell it. Their optimism is quickly crushed. Dan, the official responsible for approving medicines, reacts with unexpected anger. He dismisses their proposal outright, barely looking at the formula, and tells them to leave. Red and Rit are confused by the hostility, especially since the medicine is clearly safe. Seeking answers, they speak with the town captain, who reluctantly explains the situation. Recently, Dan approved another pain relief drug that was later discovered to be highly addictive. Since then, the town has been flooded with complaints. The problem quickly spirals out of control. People all over Zoltan start abusing the approved medicine like a drug, becoming irritable and dependent on it. Although the fault lies partly with the merchant who supplied it, Dan bears the brunt of the blame for allowing it into circulation. He becomes defensive and paranoid, afraid of making another mistake that could destroy his reputation entirely. This fear is what drove him to reject Red's medicine without consideration. Rit, however, is not just an adventurer. She is a princess, and although she usually avoids using her status, she understands when it's necessary. Through her connections with the town captain and other officials, she helps reopen the discussion. With proper oversight and transparency, Red's non-addictive painkiller is finally approved. Once it reaches the public, it quickly replaces the harmful drug, restoring some trust in the town's leadership and earning Red and Rit widespread gratitude. Encouraged by this success, Red and Rit move on to their next project, a medicine for common colds and fevers. Knowing how unpleasant bitter medicine can be, Red experiments with different methods of preparation. Using his surprisingly refined cooking skills, he transforms the medicine into a small cookie. Not only is it effective, but it actually tastes good. Children love it, adults appreciate the convenience, and the medicine cookie becomes popular almost overnight, further establishing their shop as something special. While life in Zoltan steadily improves, the hero's party faces growing trouble elsewhere. Deep in the desert, they search for one of the demon lord's powerful weapons. But negotiations with the local desert tribes keep falling apart. Cultural misunderstandings and poor diplomacy cause constant delays. Danan, the strongest fighter in the party, grows increasingly frustrated. He realizes that when Red was still with them, these kinds of problems never happened. Red had acted as a mediator, planner, and emotional anchor, roles no one noticed until they were gone. Angry at Ares for driving Red away, Danan confronts him. Ares argues that Red was weak and unnecessary, but Danan has had enough. Before the argument can escalate further, Ruti steps in. Calm but resolute, she gives Danan permission to leave the party temporarily and search for Red. Though she says little, it's clear that she too feels the absence of her brother more deeply than she admits. Back in Zoltan, Red wakes up to the now familiar peaceful morning view, sunlight through the window, the quiet hum of town life, and Rit moving about the shop. It's a life that feels almost unreal compared to his past. Later that day, Rit suddenly develops a strong craving for meat and rushes out to buy some. While she's gone, Albert arrives at the shop. His tone is aggressive, and he corners Red with pointed questions about the owlbear incident. Albert accuses Red of hiding something and implies he knows Red is far stronger than he pretends. His voice rises and the tension thickens. Before things can escalate further, Rit bursts back in and knocks Albert to the ground without hesitation. Red quickly intervenes, stopping her before she seriously hurts him. Shaken and embarrassed, Albert retreats, muttering threats but clearly intimidated. That night, Red and Rit share a relaxed evening together, enjoying good food and plenty of mead. The atmosphere is warm and intimate. The next morning, Rit finally explains why she wanted mead so badly. In her homeland, newlyweds traditionally drink mead together as a symbol of shared life and happiness. Red is stunned into silence, then laughs softly. After a moment, he accepts the meaning behind her actions, his smile filled with both amusement and genuine affection. Meanwhile, the hero's party continues to struggle in the desert. The crusader Theodora speaks privately with Tissae, asking if she regrets joining the group now that things have gone so poorly. Theodora admits that the team feels disjointed and tense, and that none of these issues existed when Red was still with them. Back in Zoltan, Red and Rit receive a visit from Galat, a senior officer from the Adventurers Guild. He demands to see Rit immediately, but Red calmly makes him wait, explaining that the shop isn't open yet. During the delay, a representative of the Thieves Guild approaches Red in secret and offers him a single elven coin, 10,000 gold coins, to sever his relationship with Rit. Red refuses instantly without even considering it. When Gallatin finally speaks with Rit, He and other guild members try to persuade her to leave Red and return to full-time adventuring. They offer wealth, prestige, and influence. Rit refuses just as firmly. After they leave, Red gives Rit a bracelet set with a priceless amber stone. Overjoyed, Rit treasures it deeply. Living this quiet life with Red feels like a dream she never thought she'd be allowed to have. As she reflects on the past, Rit remembers the days when the Demon Lord's army attacked her homeland. Seeking help from a neighboring kingdom, she once traveled through a village where they met an elf named Yarandrella, an old friend of Red's. Rit remembers feeling unexpectedly jealous of how close they were. Yarandrella possessed a divine blessing that allowed her to communicate with trees, a power that made it possible to safely cross a dangerous forest. Even then, Rit had sensed how important Red was to others and how much she wanted to be close to him herself. Sensing Rit's jealousy, Yarandrella invites her to a bath and speaks honestly with her. She explains that elves live far longer than humans, so she avoids romantic relationships with them. She respects Red deeply but doesn't see him as a lover. Yarandrella also points out that while Red doesn't have a flashy combat blessing, his role in the hero's party is far more important than it seems. Everyone relies on him more than they realize. She tells Rit that supporting Red is the right choice and that the two of them suit each other well. Later, when they reach the neighboring country, they found it under attack as well. Red took a risky role as a distraction while Ruti defeated the enemy forces one by one. To everyone's surprise, Red survived, and Ruti hugged him in relief. Rit noticed the strong bond between Red and Ruti and decided not to join the hero's party because she didn't want to come between them. Now in Zoltan, things are different. Rit and Red are finally together. When a member of the Thieves Guild later threatens to report Rit's location to her family unless she returns to adventuring, she stays calm. She doesn't care what her family thinks as long as she can live here with Red. Elsewhere, Ruti begins to feel increasingly empty without her brother. When Ares once told her that Red ran away, she didn't believe him and suspected foul play. In anger, she killed Ares in a single attack, but immediately revived him, remembering her duty as the hero. Back in Zoltan, Red and the village doctor treat a man suffering from a drug overdose. Red uses his potion skills to save him. The doctor believes the overdose came from the recently approved addictive medicine and warns that more cases will likely appear. Rit wonders who might be behind it all, but Red doesn't want to get involved. Instead, Red takes Rit on a peaceful barbecue picnic by the river. They swim, drink wine, relax, and enjoy each other's company. Eventually, they confess their feelings and share a kiss. Meanwhile, the hero's party remains stuck in the desert. Tissae asks Ruti why she never sleeps. Ruti explains that the hero's blessing makes her resistant to all physical needs. She doesn't feel hunger, thirst, exhaustion, heat, or cold, and she doesn't need sleep. However, the downside is that she lacks normal human emotions like joy, sadness, anger, or fear. Back in Zoltan, a wounded man runs into Red's shop bleeding badly. Red treats him while Rit goes outside to investigate. She finds members of Albert's party acting strangely and attacking civilians. Rit fights them off, and Albert finishes the situation with a clean shot, ending the threat. Albert says he doesn't know what happened to his teammates. Rit gets angry at him for killing them instead of just knocking them out. Albert doesn't really have an answer, and things stay tense. Around the same time, Donan finally reaches Zoltan while searching for Red. Along the way, he meets a hooded man named Bui, who also claims to be looking for Red. Bui suggests they search together, and Dana agrees, though he stays cautious. That night, Red thinks back to his childhood with Ruti. Even when violent storms terrified everyone else, Ruti was never scared. The two of them would sit together talking and making promises to always protect each other. Those memories still weigh heavily on him. Back in the present, the town doctor brings Al to Red's house. Al is badly injured and covered in blood. When he wakes up, he explains what happened. The bully from earlier, Ademi, came to his home with an axe and attacked his parents. Red and the doctor rush over immediately. Thankfully, Al's parents are still alive, though badly shaken. It turns out Ademi is the son of Moen, the captain of the city guard. Word spreads quickly, and people begin to believe the guards are protecting Ademi because of his father. Chaos breaks out in town. Protesters start using Al's parents as symbols, demanding justice and accusing the city guard of corruption. While this is going on, Al asks Rit to teach him how to use a sword. He wants to strengthen his weapons master blessing so he can protect people better. Rit agrees and does her best to train him. Not long after, Gons arrives with bad news. The town guard has taken Tanta away. Rit uses her status and connections to arrange a meeting with Moen, Ademi's father. During the meeting, Moen insists his son couldn't have been the attacker. Ademi has a brawler-type blessing, which focuses on fists, not weapons like axes. Tanta also speaks up, saying that Ademi once apologized to him for bullying. He said his blessing was affecting his personality, but he was trying to become better and planned to join the city guard someday. After the children leave, Red quietly considers another possibility. Ademi may have been influenced by the new drug circulating in town. Moen takes offense at the idea and shuts the conversation down immediately. Later, Al is sitting in the medical shop when a stranger comes in. Nothing seems strange at first. Much later, Red returns and they train together for a bit. Al then mentions that the stranger gave him a sword with a red blade. At the same time, Rit goes after suspected drug dealers at Moen's request. Unfortunately, she walks straight into a trap and is surrounded. Just as things start to look bad, Danon arrives and saves her. After the fight, they notice strange creatures attached to the attackers' heads, stalker demons. Dana explains that he came to bring Red back to the hero's party, but after seeing that Red is happy here, he's changed his mind. He asks Rit not to tell Red that he was in Zoltan, and she agrees. When Rit returns home, Red shows her the sword Al received. Using magic detection, she discovers it has a tracking spell on it, allowing whoever cast it to see the sword's location anywhere in town. Meanwhile, unrest continues to grow. People protest the rising violence and demand that Ademi and others involved be punished. Far away, Ruti and the hero's party finally reach their destination and face an enormous and extremely powerful demon. The fight is brutal. Ares nearly gets killed, but Ruti saves him at the last second, reminding him of how she used to save Red. Ares feels embarrassed. After defeating the demon, they discover the former demon lord's special weapon, a massive airship that allows fast travel anywhere. Tisay asks Ruti if she wants to use it to find her brother, but Ruti refuses. She says she must continue fulfilling her duty as the hero. Back in Zoltan, Red and Rit buy a double bed and quietly enjoy the comfort of sleeping together. Not long after, some thugs ambush what they think is Al, using the tracking spell on the sword. Instead, they find Rit holding it. She knocks them all out and then defeats an axe demon that appears soon after. Meanwhile, Al is back at the medical shop when members of the Thieves Guild kidnap him. They take him to their leader, an orc named Big Hawk. Big Hawk admits he's the one spreading the drug, causing all the trouble. It's called Devil's Blessing, and it gives users a second, more dangerous blessing while suppressing their original one. Big Hawk brings in Ademi, who is tied up. Ademi admits he took the drug because he wanted to become a strong warrior like his father. Big Hawk then takes everyone outside, where large groups of angry protesters are preparing to clash with the city guard. Big Hawk claims the guards protected Ademi only because his father is captain. He hands Al a sword and orders him to kill Ademi to bring justice to his family. He says this act will ignite a revolution, and the crowd cheers. Al refuses. Big Hawk reminds him that Ademi attacked his parents and says killing him would make Al's blessing stronger. Al raises the sword but instead cuts the rope binding Ademi. One of Big Hawk's men pulls out an axe which sends Ademi into a frenzy. Big Hawk claims Ademi will now kill Al unless Al kills him first. At that moment, Red reveals himself. He had been hiding nearby. He quickly knocks Ademi unconscious and escapes with Al. Soon after, Big Hawk, his men, and Albert track them down. It's finally revealed that Big Hawk is being controlled by a contract demon named Belial, the real force behind the drugs, the violence, and the chaos spreading through Zoltan. Albert has also become obsessed with the idea of joining the hero's party. Wanting more power, he makes his own contract with the demon Belial. When he attacks Red, it doesn't go the way he expects. It easily cuts off Albert's hand and stops him. Soon after, the town guard arrives and arrests everyone involved. Meanwhile, Al and Ademi go to the protesters and explain the truth about Big Hawk, the drugs, and how everything was manipulated. Al publicly forgives Ademi, which calms the crowd. With no reason left to fight, the protesters peacefully return home. Later, Red and Rit relax together in a hot bath. Rit asks him if he would rather go back to Ruti and return to being a hero. Red answers honestly that living here with her is all he ever wanted. Elsewhere in prison, Bowie visits Big Hawk. The demon inside Big Hawk, Belial, immediately recognizes Bowie as Shisandan, a demon general who was supposed to have been killed by Ruti. Belial abandons his contract with Big Hawk and moves on to Albert instead, forcing Albert into a new contract. Together they head toward Ruti, but she immediately draws her sword when she senses them. Back in Zoltan, Al joins a group of D-rank adventurers and leaves town to begin his own small adventures. Around the same time, Ruti and Tisay leave the rest of the hero's party behind and take the newly found airship. Ares is shocked, and Theodora later finds Ruti's hero badge left behind, confused about why she would abandon it. Meanwhile, Bowie registers with the Zoltan Adventurers Guild, becoming the first B-rank adventurer in town since Albert's departure. Elsewhere, Ruti tells Tisay to head towards Zoltan to find a skilled medicine maker. It turns out Ruti secretly took Devil's Blessing, after Belial told her it would weaken her hero's blessing and give her a new one. Now she wants a steady supply of the drug. She orders Tisay to treat her like a normal adventurer and not reveal her identity as the hero. They park the airship in a hidden area near Zoltan, change into plain travel clothes, and enter town quietly. On the outskirts, an arrogant knight blocks a bridge and demands payment. Ruti casually throws him into the river and moves on. That night, Tisay runs into Red at a roadside food stall. They chat briefly, silently sizing each other up and realizing the other is highly skilled. Later, Tisei reports this meeting to Ruti and warns her to be careful. She also mentions that the alchemist Ruti is looking for is currently in prison, meaning they'll need to break him out. Ruti prepares for the prison break while imagining advice Red once gave her. At the same time, Red and Rit are asked by a fairy dragon to help heal a water archfey suffering from a curse that's draining her spiritual energy. Red gives her medicine to counter the effect. That night, Ruti and Tisa break into the prison and rescue Godwin, the alchemist who created the drugs for Big Hawk. Godwin is weak and needs medicine, so they go to the nearest medical shop, Red's shop. There, Ruti finally reunites with Red and hugs him tightly. Red explains why he left the heroes' party, and Ruti doesn't blame him at all. She knows Ares was the real problem. Ruti asks Red to rejoin the party, but Red gently refuses, saying there's someone here he needs to stay with. Instead, Ruti decides to move to Zoltan herself. Red and Rit are shocked at first, but eventually accept her decision. Back at her hotel, Ruti suddenly feels weak. She realizes this is likely because she's acting against her hero's blessing. To suppress it further, she drinks more of the drug. Later, Godwin explains that he'll need a proper workshop to continue producing medicine. Ruti and Tisa head out to search for old elven ruins near Zoltan that might work as a base. Ruti also tries helping out at the medical shop, but her cold, emotionless personality scares customers away. To help, Red walks her around town and introduces her to people. Despite her awkwardness, the townsfolk slowly become curious about her. Red reassures her, telling her she's his pride and joy. Meanwhile, Theodora and Ares track Ruti's movements using information Albert provided. Albert remains fixated on Red, unable to understand why someone so strong would refuse greatness. Theodora explains that people aren't slaves to their divine blessings. Just because someone is meant to do great things doesn't mean they must pursue them. She says free will matters more than destiny. Back in Zoltan, Ruti, Rit, and Tisei take a bath together. During the bath, Ruti opens up about her past. When she was only 5 years old, she was already forced to fight a giant monster to save a child. Her hero's blessing compelled her to prioritize others over herself, even as she was badly injured. People praised her openly but whispered behind her back, calling her strange. She felt so trapped by her role that she wished she would just die. At the last moment, Red arrived and killed the monster. He hugged her as she cried, and that memory stayed with her forever. Ruti also admits she was jealous of Rit. Rit had the freedom to laugh, enjoy life, and stay close to Red, while Ruti was trapped by duty and expectations. She confesses that she doesn't want to be alone anymore and needs someone to save her too. Hearing this, Tisa finally understands what Ruti truly needs. She quietly decides that she will do whatever it takes to protect and save the hero she deeply respects. The next day, Tisei tells Red and Rit everything she knows about Belial, the contract demon. Red explains that Ruti won't immediately become addicted to the drug because her blessing gives her immunity. However, the drug weakens a person's existing blessing over time, so eventually Ruti could still become dependent on it. Because of this risk, they decide to help Ruti and stop Godwin from creating the drug for now. Around the same time, Ares, Theodora, and Albert arrive in Zoltan. Red suddenly runs into Danaan. When Theodora and Albert see this, they immediately turn invisible. Danaan tells Red that he's too powerful to be living a quiet life and should return to the heroes group. Red calmly says that he has already found his purpose where he is. He also explains that Ruti wants to quit being the hero because the role is making her miserable. Danaan says he understands and will support her decision. Later, Danaan goes to Ares' hotel pretending to look for Ruti. He takes Ares to Red's medical shop where Ares completely loses control and destroys the furniture and supplies like an angry animal. However, it turns out that this Danaan is actually a fake. The real Danaan meets Red elsewhere and reveals that the demon Shisandan is still alive. He also shows that Shisandan ate his right hand in the past. Soon after, they see Ares and the fake Danaan riding a dragon toward the elven ruins, where Ruti is believed to be. Red quickly informs Rit and Tisei about Shisandan, and then heads for the ruins himself. At the ruins, Red finds Godwin working on the drug again. Red also shows Ruti a medicine he has been developing to suppress blessings. Unfortunately, it's toxic and doesn't work on the hero's blessing. Ruti asks why Red is going this far for her. She reminds him that he always wanted to defeat the demon lord and bring peace to the world, and that helping her quit would go against that dream. Red answers honestly. He says he just wants to protect her. No matter what choice she makes, whether she continues as the hero or not, he will support her. He believes that if he is allowed to live his life the way he wants, then Ruti deserves the same freedom. Rit and Tisei arrive soon after and back him up. Ruti then reveals something unexpected. She has developed a new blessing. It doesn't have a name, but it helps suppress the effects of her hero's blessing. At that moment, Ares shows up and demands that Ruti return to her hero duties and go defeat the demon lord with him. He assumes Red is holding her back and attacks him. Ruti immediately stabs Ares to stop him, then heals Red and takes him away from danger. Seeing this, Shisandan changes his form into a man named Bui and offers to help Ares. He explains that the ruins contain the weapon of the first hero. If Ares can retrieve it and give it to Ruti, she will supposedly return to her role as the hero. The others realize Shisandan is present and decide to act. Ares and Shisandan reach a hidden chamber, but Danan arrives just in time to confront them. Danan explains that after losing his right hand to Shisandan, he trained his left hand until it reached near perfection. Using his skills, he completely overwhelms Shisandan. Ares then attacks Danan, giving Shisandan an opening. Shisandan stabs Danan and causes a massive explosion inside his body. He reveals his true demon form and unleashes all his weapons. Danan manages to block most of them, but one sword gets through. He dies with a smile on his face. Ares is shocked, not just by what happened, but by how calm he feels after betraying a comrade. Together, Ares and Shisandan enter the inner chamber, where they find 5 special swords. Shisandan explains that the sword Ruti carries is only a copy, and these are the real hero swords. He also claims that Ruti herself is a copy of the first hero, created to carry the original hero's soul. To force Ruti back onto the hero's path, Ares must give her the real sword and destroy her ties to a normal life. Starting with Red, the hero's group arrives and a fight breaks out. Meanwhile, Danan is revealed to still be alive. Albert and Theodora give him a healing potion. Theodora then jumps into the fight and restrains Rit with chains before engaging Ruti directly. She believes Ruti must accept her duty as the hero and save lives. Ruti asks why she must save people she has never met. Red is forced into a terrible choice: save his sister or save Rit. Rit speaks up and says Ruti shouldn't be forced to suffer because of her blessing. Theodora argues that her own country was saved by the hero. Rit replies that it was actually saved by everyone working together, the hero's party and the soldiers alike. Red kills the dragon and saves Rit. Ruti badly injures Theodora, but Ares traps Red and Rit inside a metal box and sends them falling. Laughing wildly, Ares attacks Tisei, but Tisei refuses to back down, determined to protect Ruti, whom she considers her best friend. Below them, Danan uses his remaining strength to break the metal box and send Red and Rit back up. Red rushes forward and cuts off both of Ares' hands, so he can't fight or heal anymore. At the same time, Shisandan overpowers Ruti using the hero swords. Her own sword breaks, forcing her to grab one of the real hero swords. With it, she finally kills Shisandan. However, the moment she holds the sword, her hero's blessing surges back stronger than ever. She returns and tries to attack Red. Tisa steps in and saves him, begging Ruti to stop before collapsing unconscious. Ruti appears cold and emotionless once again. She attacks Red, but he catches her blade with his simple bronze sword, knocks it away, and stands his ground. Ruti finally comes back to her senses and breaks down crying as she hugs Red. Tisa is still badly injured, so Ruti tries to heal her, using her hero's blessing. For some reason, it doesn't work anymore. Before anyone can panic, Theodora steps in and heals Tisa with her own power. Theodora says she won't ask for forgiveness because she still believes her actions were right. However, Albert asks everyone to forgive her anyway, saying that Theodora is also a true hero in her own way, someone who acts based on strong beliefs for the sake of humanity. Ruti then says something unexpected. She admits that even though she has the hero's blessing, she believes Theodora is more deserving of being called a hero. In Ruti's eyes, Theodora constantly fights for the world without thinking about herself. Red agrees and adds that being a hero isn't about physical strength or divine power, but about character. Theodora finally accepts that Ruti will never return to the hero's path. With that settled, things slowly calm down, and everyone begins returning to their normal lives. Not long after, Ruti starts noticing changes in herself. She can feel heat, cold, pain, and comfort again. But more importantly, she can feel emotions. It turns out the second blessing Ruti mentioned earlier is a power called Ruler. This ability lets her control other blessings. She's been using it to suppress the hero's blessing, keeping it from taking over her mind again. With her new freedom, Ruti decides she wants to start a small farm where she can grow medicinal herbs. Tisei offers to help her out whenever she can. Sometime later, they hold a funeral for Ares. That night, Rit opens up to Red and admits she's scared. After everything that happened, she worries she might lose him someday. Red reassures her right away. He tells her he would never leave her, that he needs her in his life, and that she's not going anywhere. That night, the two of them finally grow closer and talk seriously about their future. They make plans to live together and grow old side by side, enjoying the quiet life they've chosen. The next day, Red takes Ruti around town and shows her the little things she missed while living as the hero. He even buys her a small, cute ornament as a gift. Later, they lie down together and enjoy the peaceful life they worked so hard to protect. Even though Ruti has stepped away from being the hero, she doesn't completely stop helping people. She starts working as an adventurer and occasionally takes on dangerous jobs to protect those around her. The difference now is that she isn't doing it because she's forced to. She's acting out of her own free will, choosing when and how she helps others. Far away, Godwin runs into Yarandrala and tells her about Red, Rit, and Ruti living peacefully in Zoltan. Hearing that they've finally found happiness, Yarandrala decides she wants to join them as well. In the end, everyone moves forward in their own way, no longer bound by roles or expectations, but guided by choice, trust, and a shared desire for a quieter, more meaningful life.